And now is right now, like in 7 a.m.
That's right.
So I'm pushing buttons over here, so make sure everything's right.
It's all right. It
I'm Rayford
sounds
Brown,
good. And I'm Lee Barrows.
and Kelly is taking a few days off. She's with her
Yes,
mom, I
she's
think.
with gone to see her mama.
Yay! Good for Kelly.
Yes, she loves her mama.
Yeah, for sure. I got to say congratulations first to uh, Jack Bright and Robin Bright. They
Yes.
had an 8 pound, 6 ounce
Yeah.
grandson
Brand
yesterday.
new baby boy.
Yeah, so anyway, they're two people who are beaming like you would not
Yes.
believe.
Oh man, I know it.
Best for Mama and the new one.
Yes, congratulations.
So anyway, lots going on today. We're going to be talking about tomorrow night's Jacksonville High School homecoming game with the crosstown rivals Northside. We touched on it yesterday, got some information, got a bit more information after the show yesterday and throughout the day. And so we'll bring you up to speed on that. So just hang in there. It's not pretty. It's ugly.
I'm disappointed.
I'm disappointed. I'm ticked off.
I
Uh,
can't go.
and I would like to ban social media in the hands of pretty much anybody under the age of 50.
That would probably be that's a good suggestion,
Yeah,
really. I
really.
don't know some of these older people older than 50, just as bad.
Well, not that many.
Right, true.
And besides, we can track them down and whoop them. Can't
That's
whoop
very
up on
that's
juveniles,
very true.
but you know. We talked at length yesterday too about filing campaign financial reports.
Yes, we did.
Oh my goodness! The person of interest was a candidate, a Republican challenger for the Onslow County Board of Education, a Board of Commissioners. He lost in the primary,
Yes, he did.
but his financial report showed a number of obvious violations, discrepancies, where North Carolina general statutes, as they apply to cash contributions, he's not the only one. Got another one.
Uh-oh.
And folks, those financial reports last forever and ever and ever. It's worse than your public record back in high school days. Angela, aka Angie Todd, a candidate for the Board of Education in Onslow County, received a cash contribution from retired Onslow Sheriff Ed Brown.
Really?
$100.
I didn't know he was even.
The maximum any person can give at any one time is $50. That's state
That's
law
correct.
and is explained when candidates file for public office. Candidate Todd also paid her campaign more than $1,200 in cash. I still cannot find any state's law that prohibits large cash donations from a candidate or spouse of a candidate
There
to
is.
his or her own campaign.
Right.
It doesn't specify that in the general statutes that I can find.
Right.
So she gave herself $1,200 in cash. Does not come close to the discrepancies with lots of cash donations to Michael Cayley's campaign fund, of course.
Right.
A couple of others we have checked at random.
Mm-hmm.
No apparent violations of the campaign finance reports. Y'all are lucky.
Oh, we're still
But
looking.
we ain't finished.
I've got some big news for you later.
And even when the election happens on the 8th of November, we ain't finished.
That's right.
Because those last forever and ever and ever. And
That's
we
right.
have time. And we're going to run down them.
Yeah, we've been pretty much doing that.
So get your mess together.
Yes.
If you've been screwing up unintentionally or intentionally or stupidly, you better go down there and see Jason Dedman and explain yourself.
Right. Well, I know the Board of Elections here is not responsible for you filing correct reports. That's not their job. But if you have questions or you don't
They'll
understand,
explain it to you.
they'll explain it. And if you're running for a state office or even federal, you can call the campaign finance elections in Raleigh, and they always have someone there that's willing to help you.
Yes, absolutely. Tragic news. It started about almost a month ago, a little over 3 weeks ago, right here in Onslow County in Jacksonville. Jacksonville PD's conducted a thorough investigation in the case of a vehicle collision resulting in a fatality that occurred on October 1st. A juvenile operating an electric scooter traveling on Winchester Road in the Bryn Mawr area attempted to turn into a driveway and was struck by a vehicle also traveling in the same direction on Winchester Road. The juvenile was unconscious after being struck by the vehicle and was transported to the Naval Hospital, that's the trauma unit out there, for further care. Never regained consciousness and was pronounced deceased at the hospital. He died. The driver of the vehicle who struck the juvenile was identified as 35-year-old Ismaldo Alberto Sanchez. Upon investigation, it was determined Mr. Sanchez had been drinking sometime prior to the crash. Sanchez was charged with driving while impaired and felony death by motor vehicle. If you've got any more information you'd like to share about that October 1st.
And they both lived on the same street, too.
Yeah. They were neighbors.
Yes.
If you got any
that's
more information
sad.
about it you'd like to share, or you think you could contribute something to the police department, give them a call. Corporal Mickey Gee is the one handling this investigation, but you can call anybody there. His number, direct number, 910-938-6442.
Well, one thing I don't understand about it is that the boy turned into the path, but the boy was making a right turn into his driveway.
Mhm.
How can he turn into the path of the
Somebody,
vehicle?
I don't know where you got that. Media?
Right.
No, that got a police report.
Okay.
They were both going in the same direction,
All right. It sounds like
and Sanchez,
tried to pass him, I guess.
he didn't pass him. Don't know what he did. He
I don't
collided
know.
with him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this report is wrong then that I'm reading
If
on
it's a media
Newsmedia.
report, they
Yes.
make an assumption.
Yes.
And you know what assuming will do, don't you?
Yes, I do. So
Break
I've
that word
heard.
down.
Yeah. Well, tragic. I remember when that happened. There was a lot of talk at the time about that.
Mhm.
Sad,
It's sad,
sad.
very sad. Still don't have a release yet. We should be getting a news release from the police department today. We'll tell you about it, but we're going to talk about it anyway beforehand. We may as well talk about it now.
Yes.
We have a situation in Onslow County right now. We heard about it yesterday morning in here first.
Right.
Some stupid, idiotic, half-wit, dim-wit people, obviously the product of a long line of inbreeding,
Oh my gosh.
so stupid and ignorant that they don't know how dumb that they actually are. Well, I'm here to tell you how dumb that you are. Little smart aleck idiots wanting to be all grown up.
All gangsta.
Gangstas. You can't even spell gangster. You don't even know what a gangster is. Getting their thrills with their stupid little threats they're posting online, pretending that they're so tough. Well, let me tell you something, pukes. You know who you are. You're not nearly as tough as you think you are in your dreams or in your online posts with your blowhard threats. And by the way, the police department is monitoring all of it.
Sure they do. They monitor Facebook.
Oh, that's just the
They
beginning.
monitor everything.
They monitor TikTok too.
Yes.
You pathetic morons. You're wanting to disrupt the homecoming game tomorrow night for the Jacksonville High School. You and your gang of misfit, half-wit dumbasses. Yes, you. You're punks and you're going to jail. Not a doubt in my mind. Now or at some time in the future. Your daddy, one of you, was shanked in prison. One of you died
Oh my goodness.
here. Another one was convicted of a crime 2 years ago here. Brothers. And their daddy was shanked in prison. Died as he lived a pile of crap. Yes, Onslow County, we have little wannabe gangsters, chanksters here. They're children in our midst. They're trying to test the resolve of those of us who have been around the block and are still here, doubtful that they'll live long enough to have our background or become part of the history of this area. Nor will they ever live long enough to have our experience. Let this be a warning. There will be more guys with guns and badges at the Friday night game than at the St. Patrick's Day police parade in New York City. They're going to be there in force.
Yes, they are.
You really do not want to get so stupid that you end up in places where you can spend the rest of your miserable lives. There's a lot of room right now in the Onslow County Jail. One of those gang geese is already dead. His fault, not mine. No need to add to that death toll. But there are body bags waiting just in case.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? It's ruined it for so
It
many
has
people.
ruined it. Here's what's occurred now. We checked yesterday. We got this report yesterday over at Northside High School.
Right?
They're giving tickets out. Well, you can buy tickets there or get issued tickets. Students can go in. They can get one ticket.
One ticket.
One ticket each. That's to prevent you from getting a ticket and getting your gang members tickets too.
And they're taking names.
Who might not even be going to the
Right.
school. That's not going to happen. Jacksonville High School. You talked to a gentleman yesterday
we
at the
called
school,
yesterday.
and guess what? You can't get a ticket.
Nope, I can't get a ticket.
Why can't you get a ticket?
You have to be a student or the parent of a student.
Parent
And
of
your
a student.
parent has to come in and buy the ticket.
Yeah.
You can buy up to 4 tickets.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm an alumni and I want to come watch a
Doesn't
game.
matter.
He said it's closed to the public. And I
A
said,
homecoming game
and I
is
was like,
closed to the
"What?"
public.
yes.
What kind of school spirit is this? Can't blame
Yes.
the school.
No, can't blame the school.
Can't blame the police department.
No, you can't blame
Guess
them.
who's at fault? All y'all idiots out
These
there who are
little
not even
gangsters.
awake right now, probably
Right. Probably skipping school today.
getting ready for tomorrow night. Well,
Right.
guess what? You're not going to get in. And by the way, for those who are from Northside, you got a special entrance. You're also going to be in lockdown. You got to go to a different gate to get in.
That's right. And you've got to go cross over there and sit on
And
one
you're going to have to
side.
stay on one side because there's a police presence there. There's a contingent of police presence there.
And guess what? You have to use porta potties. You don't
And-
get to use the nice bathrooms.
They may have some food over there for you. I'd suggest you bring your own potato chips. Do not bring any pocket knives.
Right.
Do not bring any guns.
Right.
Don't bring any
Nope.
mace, pepper spray. Don't bring anything that's going to keep you from going into that game. I'm going to tell you that right now.
And there will be a heavy police presence in the parking lot too.
Well, yeah, they better be.
Yes.
They're doing this as an extra area of safety margin because of I can't call it an incident, the killing that occurred at Northside High School at the beginning of the year.
Right.
2 guys, apparently, maybe more, got into it. One's been arrested, one's dead. Got stabbed, killed.
Well,
Lots of witnesses.
I do believe you talked to the police chief
I did.
yesterday, and he said there was no credible
There's
threat.
no credible, verifiable threat. There are postings on social
Instagram
media,
and TikTok.
and they have them. They
Yes.
watched them.
Yes, they have.
I just hope you are proud of yourselves. And I hope you do something stupid.
I hope so too. It's time for this
Jail
to end.
is not nice.
No, it's not.
is
It's time for it
ugly.
to end.
And when you, as a punk, get put in jail, and hopefully you'll end up in general population, what they call general population,
Right.
because you're going to get your butts beat.
Well, you have to buy the tickets by 3 p.m. on Friday also.
Mhm.
And I can see a lot of people coming up there to buy a ticket to go in, not knowing this. And there's going to be some upset people.
Well, I wish they all had to go through me and let me screen them.
I think maybe they'll go through the parking lot and say, have you got a ticket? If you don't, go ahead, make your U-turn here and go
Yeah.
home. So we'll
You-
see.
if-
But I do have to give credit to the schools and to our law enforcement.
Absolutely.
They're doing a
They're proactive
fantastic,
on this- in
yes,
this case.
proactive.
We may hate it, but don't blame them. Don't blame the police. Don't blame the schools.
Well, you
Look
know what
around you.
That's right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to listen to the ball game on that fine radio station that we also love,
There's one
WSME.
station that covers the Jacksonville High games week in and week out. WSME right here, 97.1. You can listen to it tomorrow night. Yes, Friday
Tomorrow
night.
night.
Beginning at 6:30.
right.
Pre-game shows at 6:30. Game times at 7 o'clock. Kickoffs at 7. So you can listen to it. So sit by your radios and have
That's
fun.
right.
You're going to be safe, not going to get hurt.
I
unless
can open the window and listen to the cheering.
Yeah, you live pretty close.
Yes,
You-
right behind it. But I'll definitely always have my radio on. I'll be listening to the radio. It really makes me mad. I
It
was so
does.
excited about going.
I was too.
Yes.
I had my stuff ready to go.
Yep. We had our shirts out ready to go.
It's disgusting that we have allowed, we, the parents, the adults in this community, have allowed gangsters to
I
take
agree.
over.
I agree. It's time to put an end to this.
If you've got one that belongs to you as a child, whoop them.
Yeah, whoop them. Yeah, go back to those days of getting that
Put
switch
them
out.
under confined quarters.
Take away their social media.
Take away their, if they've got a computer or a telephone, stomp it, throw it into water,
Absolutely.
and don't give them money to buy another one. You, the parents, are responsible for a lot of this, allowing this to continue under your noses. You didn't stop it, so you've allowed it. You're encouraging it by allowing it. If you got a 15, 16-year-old that's out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, he ain't up to no good.
That's right.
And you
Exactly.
don't know where he is. And when he gets into trouble, you should be going to jail too.
I can't ever remember being that out those hours when I
What
was that
I
age.
know was we were out camping in the woods.
Well, yeah. Well, back then you could camp in your front yard and
Yeah.
get up and walk around the neighborhood 2
Yeah,
o'clock in the morning. It was safe. People thought it was just the neighborhood kids. Nobody worried about anything.
Nope.
These days, I bet during the daytime when you're home, do you keep your front door locked?
Of course.
I do too.
Keep the doors locked.
I keep all the doors locked when I'm home, even when I'm home during the day.
And there's all sorts of sensors around my house.
That's right.
And
Mine
the
too.
Ring doorbells and other cameras that they don't see.
Mine too.
You might think that you can know that you're on camera, but or not on camera at a house that doesn't have a Ring doorbell, because those Ring
Right.
doorbells stand out like a sore thumb.
Right.
But
Exactly.
that's a deterrent, which is good.
Right.
But there are other cameras.
That's right.
They're cheap.
I have cameras. Well, the
They
thing about
record
it is,
24/7.
and your Ring doorbell will notify you immediately,
Yep.
and you can go live on your Ring doorbell through your app on your phone
Mhm.
and actually speak to the person.
Yeah, and tell them to duck, because
Yeah.
what's coming next is not going to be pretty.
It's
Turn
a
around, put
sad
your
state
hands,
of affairs,
turn
isn't
around
it?
and put your hands behind your back.
We can't even go to a ball game.
They're
It's a sad
ruining it.
state.
Why is Jacksonville becoming like Minneapolis or LA or New York? Why are we allowing this? Why are we the adults in this community? Why have we allowed this to occur?
It's time to put a stop to it, like I've been saying. This is ridiculous. I don't feel comfortable going out at night anymore.
Oh no.
I just stay home.
Well, I stay home too, but
Yes.
I don't feel uncomfortable. But when you go out and walk your dog down the street,
No.
I carry a gun.
No.
My wife carries a gun.
No, look
That's
what
just the
happened.
way it is.
I know. Well, look what happened in Raleigh. People in the middle of the day out walking their dogs, running on the trail, shot down.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't think we should be afraid, but I think that we all just have to be cautious.
Cautious.
And it's
Be
sad.
aware.
Be aware. Be aware of your surroundings.
Be aware there's scum out there walking among us.
Yeah, there is. Well, I hope you kids are happy, because this is just wrong. It's just wrong.
Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning. It's Jason Dedman.
Hey, Jason.
Well,
how are you?
Jason, how are you?
Good. Speaking of crazy, we might as well talk about elections, right?
Oh, no. Go right ahead.
Let me just tell everybody right now, all elections in Onslow County have been postponed. Unless you got a ticket,
Oh, my gosh.
you cannot go. You
Let's
cannot
not
vote
start
anymore.
that.
Why not? They start all
that-
sorts of other rumors.
That is mis and disinformation. Sir.
Jason will be having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, we still got all 5 polling sites open.
Good.
Whether you live in Swansboro, Sneads Ferry, Richlands, Jacksonville, we've got you covered anywhere in the county. 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. every Saturday, and that runs through the 5th of November at 3 p.m. for early voting. You still have through the 1st of November to request your absentee ballot if that's how you choose to vote. And also on Election Day, we're going to give you 13 hours to vote. So everyone has ample time to vote, and there's no reason to not get out and vote. We have curbside at all 5 sites. So if you have any kind of a disability or reason that you can't get into the polls, we'll come out to you and help you. So we aim to please, and we hope to help everyone exercise their right to vote as easy as possible.
Well, I appreciate you having 5 different early voting places. So far, I've gotten to 3 of them and cast my ballot. So I've got 2 more to go to.
Hey, Jason.
Well, just to dispel that, if he did that in one day, then at the end of that night, we'd know he voted 3 times, and we'd take out the other 2, and then he'd be a Class I felon.
Right.
We all know this. It's a joke, but anyway.
Oh, yeah, I know you're joking, but I'm just covering it
I
so
know
in
that,
case
and
anybody got the bad idea
I
doing it.
really hope that people will take advantage of this opportunity and get out and vote. You know, you really, it would be great if 100% the registered voters, all 111,000, whatever there are. I forgot the
100
number.
and I think it was, I wrote it down.
Just
I have it here.
just a little over 117 now.
Okay.
Yes,
over 100
117,882.
Okay.
There you go.
So
There you go.
if we
She's always better with me than the exact numbers for sure.
I have the time to look. You don't.
if we could just have 100,000 of those people to vote, I think we would get an
Well-
equal voice, and we would have a fair return.
Through Wednesday, we have 7,511.
Well, that's a start.
So we're a little ahead of the last midterm.
We got
that we had.
93,000 to go.
That's right. Jason, real quick,
Yeah, go ahead.
do you want to address the rumors going around to wait till after 3 p.m. on election day to vote?
Okay, there's an email coming out from a group called We the People.
Yeah.
And I don't know who We the People are, but
It
they
ain't We the
are.
Yes,
They are. They are. Obviously, I can't get involved in politics, but what I can tell you is
They're obstructionists.
what is true and what is not true. Your vote will count whether you ordered an absentee ballot on day one that it was available and you were the first person to vote in Onslow County, period, and you went to the first absentee by mail board meeting, or your vote will count on the first day of early voting, your vote will count on the last day of early voting, your vote will count on election day, your vote will count many different ways. UACAVA, FVAP, those are military ways of voting that they're well aware of. And bottom line, your vote counts, not only in Onslow, but in North Carolina. And we try to have these Mythbusters emails that go out on social media from the State Board of Elections all the time. The deal with that is across the state, all of the local boards meet, and they have to have a final meeting to shut down the early voting machines. So all these numbers that we have, we know how many people voted, but we don't know how they voted, if
Right.
that makes sense.
Yep, it does.
And so when the board is in the meeting with me and they instruct me to shut those polls down, then we'll know how they voted at 2 p.m. and we'll have our stuff ready. So when the polls close at 7:30, we have all absentee by mail, all early voting, all of that, anything other than election day, we have those numbers. Well, the only people who know that are myself, some of my staff, and the board members, and we're sworn to secrecy. So even so, I don't see how that would change how anyone would want to vote. If you vote on election day before 3 p.m., your vote counts. If you vote on election day at the last second, your vote counts. The bottom line is your vote counts. And I understand the argument is, well, they're trying to figure out how many people voted to see how many people we need to pick up and take to the polls. And
It's ridiculous.
I've never seen a concerted effort to, if you wait till the last day to try to win an election, that's pretty late.
Yep, you're done. Put a fork in
Absolutely.
you.
Might be a long line
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
here's the other thing about it.
It could cause very long lines, and it's. I just wouldn't want to cause anyone to vote any other way than they want to vote. If you feel comfortable voting absentee by mail, by all means, we got Vote Tracker. You'll know where it is from
That's
start
right.
to finish through ballot tracks. If you vote in absentee, meaning early voting or one stop, you're fine. And by the way, anything other than election day is absentee voting. So when you look at your voter history after the canvass, and it says absentee, and you say, wait a minute, I voted at one stop or early voting.
That's
I didn't
still
vote
absentee.
That's absentee.
You did vote absentee, yeah.
That's right.
There's only one day of the election process, and that is on election day. So anything else prior to that is absentee.
And if you go to your
Yeah.
voter history right now, it's not going to show that you voted yet.
Nope.
So
No,
everybody
that
just
was
be
a big
calm.
thing. That was a huge thing in 2020.
Yeah,
No
I
one ever
remember.
looked at their voter history, and there was panic, and no voter history comes until after canvass. So
That's right.
everyone never looked at their voter history before. So then they assumed they got it right away after they voted, and they listened to mis and disinformation. And
Sure.
after canvass, everyone had voter history. So if you have questions regarding elections, please, 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 we're not going to lie to you. The rules are rules and the laws are the laws. If you call us, we're not going to tell you you're crazy for believing whatever you heard, but we are going to tell you what actually is and why it is that way, and when you'll be able to see what it is you're looking for. But please don't wait to vote if you're ready to vote. Vote when you're comfortable.
As Dragnet Sergeant Friday fame, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts.
Absolutely.
Right. That's all I try to do. I'm native of Onslow County. I don't plan on moving. I want to retire in this position, and the only way I can keep that is to be neutral. And I'll tell you my opinions when I hit my lottery or retire.
There you go, Jason. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
All right, y'all have a great day.
You
And
too.
as Lee was saying, I think we're about 500 votes ahead so far than we were the
Yes.
last midterm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
We
a
are.
good start.
A little bit. Yep.
Jason Dedman with the Onslow County Board of Elections. You're live and local. Real Talk. Don't go away. We'll be right back with weather. Hey, you want a boat? Maybe you have a boat that you like, but your motor has seen better days. Maybe you have a motor that's not performing like it did a few months ago, but isn't really that old. Okay, so those are some of the scenarios that a lot of boaters, including me, have gone through. I bought a 1998 boat about a dozen years ago. Great boat, one that will outlive me, no doubt. But after 20 years, the original motors were a bit outdated and a bit tired. So, since I liked the new modern motors, I put two of them on there, brand new ones. And they do well. Not only am I happy with the improved performance, including much better gas mileage, my wife loves going offshore on a boat that isn't sounding loud alarms for one issue or another. Tideline Marine can help you with, let's don't call them your needs, let's call them your wants. We all have them. All men have wants, you know. Stop in, have a chat with George about what you actually want so that you can be happy on the water. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. We have some challenging experiences on the water over the next couple of days. Small craft advisory in effect through Sunday afternoon. Today, offshore northeasterly winds 20 to 25 knots, gust to 30, seas 4 to 6, 2 to 3 near shore if you can get through the inlet. Dominant period 6 seconds, sounds and rivers rough. Northeasterly winds Friday, 20 to 25 knots, gust up to 30, seas 5 to 7 feet, except 2 to 4 near shore. Dominant period 4 seconds, sounds and rivers again rough. Northeasterly winds on Saturday, winds 20 to 25 knots with gusts to 30 knots, seas 5 to 7 again, 2 to 3 near shore. Sounds and rivers will continue to be rough.
Very rough. And today, partly sunny with a high near 71. Northeast wind 8 to 10 miles per hour with gusts as high as 16 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 51. Northeast wind around 9 miles per hour with gusts as high as 15. Friday, mostly cloudy with a high near 70. Friday night, cloudy with a low of 55. And Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 67.
Oh, okay. Not too bad.
Nice football weather.
Yeah,
for
but
those
we'll
that
be
get to go.
staying at home listening to it. It's okay. Well, at least we
Absolutely.
can listen to it.
Absolutely.
So the guys there at WDSME tomorrow night, they'll be doing play-by-play, of course, and they'll have to describe it really
Yes,
well.
they do a
'cause
great job too.
Yep, they do.
Great job. I enjoy listening to them.
We have a special guest in the studio.
Yes, we do.
We got one that we've known for a few years
Yeah,
now. that
he's
I've
the
been-
Uber driver this morning. He knows this gentleman well. This is Bill Pincus. He is the president of the North Carolina Right to Life organization.
Yeah, that's good. I like right to life,
Yes.
Good morning.
and I like
Good
living in
morning.
a right to work state too.
Oh, and
So-
his Uber driver. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore it. Pete Benton.
I deliver pizzas too.
Do ya? What'd you bring us?
Pepperoni.
I don't want that. I want one with lots of beef, green onions, green peppers.
I like some chicken. Now, that's a whole nother story.
A what?
Okay,
chicken pizza.
That's a whole nother story.
Huh.
Relating back to last night, my experience trying to get chicken. But
Oh,
we
yeah.
won't talk about that
We'll
now.
talk about that
Yes,
later.
we'll talk about that later.
God, what a disaster. Bill, what's on your mind? What's coming up?
Well, we're a pro-life organization. We support candidates that are true to life. We work in the General Assembly to pass pro-life laws, and we try to educate the public about abortion and about life matters, including assisted suicide and euthanasia, because we cover life from the moment of conception until natural death.
We hear so much Roe v. Wade overturned, but we got efforts to like reinstitute it. Roe v. Wade, pro-abortion. What kind of argument do you have? It's my body. I'm a woman. I should be able to do with my body what I want.
Well, to some degree, that is true, but they forget the other body that is within the woman. And the moment that the egg and the sperm unite, there is another human being there. It might not look exactly like us, but it's at the right stage of the development at that time. And I tell people, look, it's another body. It's not the mother. It's not the father. Each individual has unique fingerprints, unique DNA, 23 chromosomes from mom, 23 chromosomes from dad. So it's not just my body. And it's the way nature acts. When you have another mammal, a cow, a deer, or you have a reptile or a bird, they have the egg, it's fertilized, and then it starts developing. It does not look like a grown sea turtle. It doesn't look like a grown deer. It goes through stages of development.
Butterflies are a great example.
Right.
Exactly.
Very good. Yes.
Um, I see people standing alongside the road every day up near the mall on Western Boulevard. I'm sure they're over in Carteret County. They're everywhere. And a woman's right. It's a woman's body. It's her right to do with it as she sees fit, according to the signs and the shouts and stuff that I hear as I drive by.
Well, again, if you look at all of us as a member of the human race, Homo sapiens is the genus and species that we are. Um, from the moment of conception, it's another body. And it's, like I said, it's, 9 months later, that baby's going to be born. But the infant, the neonate, can't live without its parents. And even the 1-year-old or the 2-year-old, they're totally depending on their parents.
Mm-hmm.
So you say, well, the baby's not viable, blah, blah, blah. It's not a real human until it's born. That's not true at all. It's a human from the moment of conception. And just as we progress through life, you have that baby, that infant, that toddler, that preschooler, that, preteen, the teenager, and the parents are pulling their hair out, the college student, the young man and woman in the workplace, and then the old retirees. And we go through that cycle of life.
So at what point in time do they become viable would be the question that I'd like to ask these individuals. Are they viable at 6 months of pregnancy, or how about 6 years? Are they viable then? They can't do anything for themselves when they're 6 years old, but do we have a right to terminate them?
That's a good point. Excellent point. Because, again, I like to look at the cycle of life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at natural law, and even if you take God out of the picture, but, I believe there was a creator and that each one of us is made in his image and likeness.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, we have worth. It doesn't matter where you're born, what country you come from, what race you're a part of. You're a human being, and we should be treating each and every one of us with respect and dignity.
All right, let's take a break. If you've got questions or if you've got comments you'd like to throw out there relevant to this topic, feel free to give us a call, 910-333-0139. Again, that's 910-333-0139. You're live and local, Real Talk. We'll be right back. And we're back, and our guest in the studio from North Carolina, Right to Life, Bill Pincus. And so if you've got a question you'd like to ask him, feel free to do so now, 910-333-0139. We were talking during the break, and you mentioned before we got
Yes.
into the break, 30,000, more than 30,000 abortions in North Carolina last year,
2020.
2020.
2020.
The Department of Health and Human Services is about a year behind.
Mhm.
They will release the numbers for 2021 here in the next probably 2 or 3 months,
Okay.
and we'll sort through that.
I mean, I got a calculator. You can just take each state and anyway, the 30,000 in 1 year
North Carolina.
in
is-
North Carolina.
Right.
Now, some of these people perhaps have been coming into North Carolina because they could get abortions here, and maybe they could not, or they cannot now get abortions in the state where they reside, right?
That's correct. Most of the states in the Southeast have enacted laws to protect the babies in the womb. And, I always refer to them as a baby. A lot of times we use words and we can change meanings and make them less human.
Mhm.
And it's interesting, we call the baby a fetus.
Mhm.
Well, fetus actually is the Latin term for offspring.
Okay.
And if you were to call the baby the fetus, then why shouldn't we call the pregnant woman gravida? Because that's the Latin term for pregnant woman.
Mhm.
And, we don't do that because when you call the baby a fetus, most average people don't know what that is. It's a fetus. It's not a baby. And if you call it a baby, then you humanize the baby.
Mhm.
And that's so important because, like I said at the beginning, we're all members of the human race. We're all Homo sapiens, genus and species.
Now, with North Carolina not adopting any laws dealing with abortion, like negative abortion, not pro, but negative abortion, let's just put it like that, that we're not going to allow abortions in North Carolina. We haven't done that.
No, in fact,
What's not going to happen to the numbers of abortions in North Carolina?
so
Predictions?
currently, the state law is that abortions are allowable up to the 20th week,
Mhm.
and there's an exception for the health of the mother.
Right.
South Carolina has passed a heartbeat bill, but it's currently enjoined. Tennessee has passed a very strict pro-life bill, and those are states that just border on us. Georgia,
Mhm.
Alabama, even Florida has a 15-week ban now. So women now are driving to North Carolina to have abortions. So we've become an abortion destination state.
We're a sanctuary state for
Well,
abortions.
That's correct. At the current, our current governor is pro-abortion. Our current attorney general is pro-abortion.
Too bad their parents weren't.
Oh my goodness. He's on a roll today. He's on a roll.
Well, we think life is precious,
Right.
and we want to defend life
Mhm.
from the moment of conception until natural death. And we would love to have North Carolina a pro-life state. So we work to protect as many babies and save as many lives as we possibly can.
That's good.
I know our state legislature was working hard. I believe it was a year ago, it might have been a little bit longer than a year. They were working on this issue, very pro-life. And I know Representative Keith Kidwell was a big promoter of this. So, and I think as usual, it all just kind of got dumped into committee after it left the Senate. So
We do have a caller probably with a
Yes.
question. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. How y'all doing today?
good
We're
morning.
doing fine, Steve.
morning.
Thank you.
I was just sitting here listening to the gentleman speak, and I'd like to go on record for saying that I'm pro-life as well. Even as a society, there's like 1 in a million that are born that are geniuses, like Einstein, Oppenheimer. And with the amount of abortions that go on in this world, I wonder how many great minds never
That's
never
a
make
good
it.
thought.
Excellent thought,
As
Steve.
It
a
is.
society. Now, so I mean, I'm in my heart, I'm pro-life, but then I have, the people who are pro-choice, they do have some valid questions against, people who believe in from the time of conception, like these gentlemen are saying.
Mhm.
And so, one of the questions I'd like to ask you is, in Do you believe there's any exceptions to that? Like, my understanding is that like a tubal pregnancy is a baby that will never develop, but it does require an abortion because it can be medically dangerous for the mother to not remove that, for lack of a better word, that fetus that won't develop. So, in your beliefs, is there an exception for medical, emergencies? Is there any exceptions for rape or incest? What are your views in those areas?
So one of the things that you have to decide is what is the definition of abortion? And the CDC says that the definition of abortion is the intentional killing of an intrauterine pregnancy. The first case that you brought up, which is an ectopic pregnancy, is a non-viable pregnancy. Yes, it is a baby. It is a life. It's implanted in the fallopian tube. If it's not treated, the baby will develop and get to the point where it ruptures. At that point, the baby dies and the mother's life is at risk. So this is not, there's a principle, there's a double effect principle. In an ectopic pregnancy, you're removing the fallopian tube. The intent is to protect the life of the mother, not to kill the baby. The secondary causation is the death of the baby because you've removed the fallopian tube to protect the life of the mother. So that's really not considered an abortion per se. It's not the intentional killing of the baby. It's the intentional saving of the mother's life. And the same thing can be made. And, you've heard stories. I don't personally know a woman who has had, a cancer in the uterus, but there have been several mothers that have refused treatment because the chemotherapy would have drastic effects on their baby.
Mm.
And they have gone on to carry the baby and delivered by C-section, and sometimes to the detriment of the mother, the death of the mother. So that's a heroic sacrifice.
Right.
And in any case of a pregnancy, you're pitting the mother against the child. In any pregnant situation, if you're going for an abortion, the results of the abortion is that a baby dies. People say, well, that's health care, reproductive care for the mother. But the definition of health care, again, is not death of a baby. So, it's a difficult case. And then you bring up the incidents of rape
Incest.
and incest. Those are extremely rare. I think it's like less than 0.5% in the case of rape and maybe 0.03% in the case of incest. But those are crimes against nature. And you don't solve a problem by creating additional violence. And the violence is here against the baby. I personally know two women. One was the product of rape, and she is married. She is so thankful her mother didn't abort her. She has two wonderful children, and she's very pro-life. The other woman that goes to my church said that she was raped when she was in college. And of course, go get abortion. It'll take care of your problems. She did not get abortion. Her son is now in his 30s and so thankful that his mother didn't abort. And she is so thankful because abortion hurts women. You're pitting the mother against the child, and you can suppress that feeling. You can hide those fears. You can say, oh my gosh, my problem's being taken care of, but it really hasn't. There is a psychological impact on women forever.
There's no win for sure. There's no, I wouldn't say it's a good solution. I don't think many people out there, take this with a light heart, anybody who has to be involved in that. But the reason why I ask those questions is trying to, ask the questions that people from the other side would ask. And the reason why I ask about the tubal pregnancies and stuff is because some of these laws that were trigger laws that as soon as Roe v. Wade was overturned, those laws went into effect immediately in those states. And some of those states, their laws do not have an exception for those tubal pregnancies. They do consider those an abortion. And so those people are having to leave the state to get that procedure done.
Mm.
Well,
So, that's the reason why I ask you. That's the reason why I ask you, and what you, what I'm getting from you is that that's kind of not the same thing as an abortion.
so
That's, even though it's still, technically the same kind of similar procedure.
Legislatures should be able to adopt laws to
Yes.
handle that.
So the protection of the woman's life is never going to be discarded. Unfortunately, the pro-choice, the pro-abortion, the abortion industry has spread a lot of lies. And one of those lies was, oh, the woman who's had a miscarriage, which is a spontaneous abortion, it's different than a therapeutic abortion, or the woman that has the tubal pregnancy are not going to be treated. And that is a false lie. It is an outright lie. None of the laws that have been passed allow those or forbid those treatments of a woman.
Okay. Steve, thank you. We got to take a break.
Thank you.
You're live in
Thanks.
Local Real Talk. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And welcome back, live and local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1 and 1120 AM WSME. Also, for you guys who are listening, you want to listen to us when you get to work, you can go either to a YouTube channel, just look for live and local, put Real Talk after it. It'll narrow it down. And you can listen to us at WSME971.com. WSME971.com. Just click on Listen Live, and it'll take you straight to us. Our guest, Dr. Bill Pincus, I just learned that you were a retired physician, right? You've quit now?
That's correct. I retired 2 years ago and took over the helm at North Carolina Right to Life.
ENT, right?
Right.
Good for you. If I got this little...
I knew that was coming.
I bet you get a lot of people say, I got this little...
Take 2 aspirin and call me in the morning.
Yeah. There was the joke of the one doctor. He always got the same response, people coming up to him, and he was at a cocktail party. A lady came up and very publicly said, I've got this little I said, ma'am, disrobe and we'll start. Conversation was over. Oh, well. Right to Life, North Carolina Right to Life. And again, we got a little bit going there with Steve. 30,000 abortions in North Carolina in 2020.
That's
yeah,
correct.
2020. And how fearful are you that those numbers will soar after, probably not for 2021, but for 2022, whenever those stats come out, sometime in late 2023 or 2024? Do you think we're going to be one of those states that a go-to state for abortions?
Well, we've already seen an increase of out-of-state license plates at the abortion facilities. There's an abortion facility in Greensboro, and I am out there frequently praying in front of it. We do not impede access, which some people will say, oh, you're not doing anything. There are some sidewalk advocates that if the woman stops to talk with us, we try to convince them to choose life.
Mm-hmm.
There are women out there that are sidewalk advocates that regret their abortion. They've had abortions.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, our Lord is so big and so great, there is no sin that he will not forgive if we come and ask for his mercy. So abortion is a terrible secret that many women carry with them throughout their life. We have seen an increase even in Greensboro. Now, Greensboro is basically the center of the state. Why would we see an increase in plates from Georgia and Tennessee and South Carolina? And one of the things is the abortion facilities in Charlotte and in Wilmington are closer to the state lines, Asheville, but they're busy. They're more busy. And in fact, Planned Parenthood recently filed a motion with the judge to allow nurse practitioners and PAs to dispense the abortion pill, RU-486, mifepristone. And North Carolina has never allowed a non-physician to do an abortion. Never. And now we're asking to have advanced practice clinicians, nurse practitioners, and PAs to be able to dispense that pill. That pill is not as safe as the abortion industry would like you to think it is. And if you go to the FDA's website, I actually have some of those statistics. I can sort through this so I don't misstate it. And these statistics are from September 28, 2000 to June 30th, 2021. There have been reported 26 deaths, 97 ectopic pregnancies, and the cases with adverse events, 2,740. So out of that 2,740, 768 required hospitalization, 416 had bleeding serious enough to require a transfusion, and there were severe infections in 308. Now, it's interesting because when the woman goes and has a chemical abortion, they don't oftentimes go back to the abortion facility. The doctor's not available for complications, and they're told, if you have bleeding or problems, go to the emergency room and tell them you're having a miscarriage.
Whoa.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
So the numbers that are reported are probably not accurate because the women don't want to say, hey, I took the abortion pill. And so we think those numbers are actually much higher. And reporting requirements are not very strict, and they vary from state to state. And in fact, when we look at the number of abortions that occur in the United States, I think last year was 963,000. So you can say a million. When you look at that number, California doesn't report, the state of Maryland doesn't report. So those numbers are actually higher. If you think about the, when you look at numbers, that's a large amount, a million people. It's hard to comprehend that size of a crowd. If half of them are chemical abortions, so we say 500,000, and there's a 2% serious complication rate with RU486, that means there's 2% of 500,000, which is 10,000 women a year, are going to have these serious complications. We're not talking just a little cramping, a little excessive blood loss. We're talking serious infection, the possibility of death. And with the liberalization of the laws where they don't even have to see the physician or have an ultrasound, how does the woman know that she doesn't have an ectopic pregnancy? And if she does have an ectopic pregnancy and she does take the abortion pill, she's putting her life at grave risk.
Good questions. Well, I'd like
So
to
it's
ask
just
you.
an over-the-counter, almost over-the-counter pill, then,
Right.
isn't it?
Well, it is a prescription pill.
But it's
And-
almost, you don't have to do much, persuade a doctor to give it to you, do you?
Well, you're supposed to, the law in North Carolina says that the pill is supposed to be dispensed by a physician and taken in his presence, the first pill. It's actually a 2-pill regimen. You take misoprostol, the first pill, and then you take mifepristone and misoprostol.
Easy for you to say.
The first pill basically cuts off the nutrition to the baby, so the baby dies. The second pill causes uterine contractions and expels the baby. So you take that somewhere between 24 and 72 hours after you take the first pill. There is a procedure which was actually discovered by one of our North Carolinian physicians at the same time on the West Coast by a doctor on the West Coast. It's called the abortion pill reversal. And they were thinking that, well, mifepristone is an antagonist to progesterone. Progesterone is required to maintain the pregnancy. So if you flood the system, in other words, give the woman extra progesterone, maybe you can save the baby. And Dr. Matt Harrison in North Carolina and Dr. George Delgado in California, independently of each other, came up with the idea, well, let's give the woman progesterone. It's a naturally occurring hormone. Every woman makes it, especially when she's pregnant, and it maintains the pregnancy. And so they found over the years that about 2/3 of the babies could be saved if the mother did not take the second pill to expel the baby, but she had to take it earlier, the sooner the better. Right. So they've set up a network of physicians, and it's called the Abortion Pill Rescue, APR. And if the woman calls that hotline, they will see her the next day, confirm that she's pregnant, and start her on progesterone. So again, the progressive side says, well, that's junk science. Well, let me tell you, there's over 3,000 babies alive today because of that. And they and their mother are living proof that that works.
Makes you just want to go out and hug a baby right now.
I'm a little spellbound here. This is a lot more information than I had ever thought about giving consideration to.
So we actually had a bill that we tried to get passed in the legislators called the Second Chance for Life, or the abortion pill reversal. And it does not prevent the woman from going in and asking for the abortion pill. What it does do is make the physician put in writing that if she changes her mind within 24 to 72 hours, she can call the abortion pill hotline number and they can attempt to save the baby. That's all it does. So that, to me, as a surgeon, is so important about what we call informed consent. And everybody should be concerned about informed consent. As an ENT doctor, I would take out tonsils in kids. It's a relatively routine operation, and it goes pretty smoothly. The child has a really bad sore throat, bad breath, fever, doesn't want to eat, probably loses a few pounds. But there is a risk with that, and that's a post-tonsillectomy bleed. And I will tell you, in the United States, 20, 25 people, maybe children, die every year from having their tonsils removed. So when I discussed with my patients, hey, we're going to take, Sam's tonsils out, and he's going to have a bad sore throat, and he's going to have bad breath and a fever, and he won't want to eat. But one of the things that I'm concerned about is there's a chance of bleeding after the tonsillectomy. And if this happens, you got to call me immediately. You cannot travel down to Myrtle Beach and go to the beach or to the mountains and see the fall leaves. You need to stay at home so that you know where the hospital is. You have my cell number. You call me immediately. Have I had kids that had tonsil bleeds? Yes. Did I ever have to transfuse one? No. And I was very adamant that mom and dad, yes, this is what we're going to do. They won't have strep throat. They won't have obstructive sleep apnea. But these are some of the complications that can occur. And I will be there for you if that happens. So that's the process of informed consent. You tell them the things that you want to do and the potential outcomes and how you're going to handle those outcomes. And so, when you inform somebody, here, we're going to give you this pill to terminate your terminate your baby's life. It'll be a simple medical abortion. That's not true. Even on the FDA's website, which we think underreports it. And when I was trying to lobby for this, Canada has socialized medicine. And so their records are a little easier to interpret and to get. And they actually have higher reports of these complications. But some of our legislators say, well, I don't want to, tell me about North Carolina. Tell me about the US. Don't tell me about Canada. Don't tell me about the UK. Don't tell me about the rest of the world. So to me, you got to gather all the data. You need to verify the data. And that's why I printed out this FDA adverse event sheets, because I want to make sure that I'm telling you accurate information. I don't want to mislead you. I want to give you the accurate data.
Well, I have one question real quick before we get ready to go to weather. Human cloning.
Ooh. So cloning got its start, I guess, with Dolly, the sheep in the UK.
Yes.
And everybody celebrated the fact that they were able to take a DNA from a sheep and implant it into a fertilized egg with the nucleus extracted. So they took the DNA from a living sheep and they created a clone. And that's exactly what a clone is, identical DNA. Well, Dolly didn't last too long. It was successful initially. And, when you look at, quote, playing God, and you look at cloning, and even with stem cell research and embryonic stem cell research, which is similar, we have not been successful in cloning humans or using embryonic.
We have tried.
Now, I don't know per se. I think that there are laws against cloning humans, but they're definitely trying to clone, other animals.
Well, wasn't it true that Planned Parenthood was all in support of using baby parts for research and cloning, et cetera, et cetera?
unfortunately, they have used some of the aborted babies, and Project Veritas did undercover work,
Right.
and that was horrifying. And there was a big outcry, and I think it was around 2015 or 2016 that
Yes, I
that
think you're right, yeah.
news
Mhm.
broke,
It was.
and there was a tremendous public outcry, but people seem to have forgotten about that,
Right.
and it still happens. And last year we found out that Pittsburgh wanted to be the fetal hub center for getting baby parts for experimentation, and it's heart rendering that we would do that.
Pretty disgusting.
It is. I just want to hug a baby right now.
Yeah.
My granddaughter was born a little over a year ago. She's just, so cute. My first granddaughter. Of course, dad's biased or grandpa's biased.
Oh, absolutely. Been there, got that T-shirt.
But she, my daughter, even when my wife and I were pregnant, we had ultrasounds, and we could recognize the shape of the baby. But nowadays they got like 3D and 4D ultrasounds, and it's like, oh my gosh, look at
Fit them
this.
for a pair of shoes.
And my brother, who's an invasive radiologist in Newport News, Virginia, he does a lot of procedures and biopsies and stuff. They will use MRI if they know that the woman is pregnant. And he sent me a little clip of a baby jumping around in the mother's tummy. And the interesting thing about MRIs is they don't show bone very well, but they show all the soft tissue. And you could see the baby's brain within the head. You didn't see the skull, you didn't see the white bone of the skull, but you could see the baby's brain. And he was jumping and pushing and pumping on the mom's tummy. And women who have been pregnant, will be able to relate to that really easy. The baby, as it gets older, starts kicking and moving, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, I saw your video on your website of the baby in the womb, and it just about made me cry. It was just so precious. I was just trying to bring it up here to show Rayford, and it's not coming up. But yeah, it's very touching, very touching.
Yeah, our website is www.ncrtl.org.
Right to Life, and put the NCRTL's NC Right to Life. We can remember that way. .org, folks. Because I knew somebody's going to put down com. Doctor, thank you. We appreciate you coming in this morning.
Very informative. It gives you a lot to think about,
and
too.
I'm sure that we will probably end up with a bunch of posts later on. And lots of folks wanting to know more.
Well, we have a lot of information on our website. We advocate for life. We educate the public. We just finished having our pro-life booth at the North Carolina State Fair for 10 days. It was awesome. A lot of people stopped by. We have little models of the babies at different stages that are very close to life size.
I think we got Steve maybe back. Is that you, Steve?
Yes, sir, it is. I wanted to jump right back in if I could before the gentleman jump out.
Okay.
I did a quick research on what I'd said and what the gentleman said, and they were correct, and I was incorrect. Is that there is exceptions for tubal pregnancies in like Texas and other places where they've enacted these laws. The issue they're having, though, is that the doctors, there's no clarity on when they can perform that procedure. The doctors are looking at it and saying that the mother's life isn't actually in danger until the fallopian tube ruptures. But normally, as soon as they make the diagnosis, they would go in there and abort that so that they didn't have to wait until the mother's life is actually in danger to perform the procedure. So my only point I'm trying to make is that as we go down this road, we really need to make sure that we take all things into consideration, because somebody's life other than the baby might hang in the balance as well. In your efforts to save the baby, you don't want to create a situation that endangers the mom, and I know that.
That's correct.
Waiting too long could be deadly for the mom.
I think we should really, walk down this path with a lot of caution and a lot of forethought. And that's the kind of point I'm making. And I'm on your side, but I also want to respect the opinions of the people who are on the other side of this. Not all of them are, let's have an abortion at 9 months, the day before the birthday.
Right. Steve,
So,
one of the things
anyway, I wanted to put that out there and retract what I said, that I was incorrect. But what's happening is some of these women are leaving the state to have this a procedure done before it actually becomes a life-threatening situation, which is when the fallopian tube ruptures.
That's correct. It does become life-threatening at that. And just to bring it back to a more common procedure that people are aware of, if you look at somebody who has appendicitis, if it's ruptured, that is much more serious than it is if it is not yet ruptured. So you look at the symptoms that the person is having, you make the diagnosis, and you perform the surgery prior to the emergency.
It's not going to get any better,
That's
right?
Right.
Okay. I mean,
Well, and that's the
just
thing with
it is.
with the tubal pregnancy, and forgive me for not using the proper term. I know that's not the proper term, but with a tubal pregnancy, they know as soon as they diagnose it that that's not going to be a viable pregnancy.
It's not a
But
viable, not just not a viable pregnancy, but a likely dangerous situation.
Right.
Correct. And normally, and under normal, in the past, they would do the procedure before it became life-threatening, and now there's no clarity on, technically they have to wait till it ruptures before they do the procedure, and that from a medical standpoint, that's not good health practices. So, like I say, as we make these laws, as we try and enact these laws, we really need to take consideration. It sounds like these gentlemen are taking, those things into consideration as well. But just wanted to put that into the conversation as well. And as far as how rare it is, I looked at the statistics is 1 in 100. So that's not very rare. That's actually pretty common.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I mean that was, I looked up the statistics on those tubal pregnancies just to see how common it was.
I might want to check your source on that. You may find a different set of stats with CDC.
Okay, I'll do that as well.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Steve.
I can find out all sorts of information and misinformation, and I get a little confused. It's the reason I use bunches of sources out there.
Yes.
Right. I would agree. That seems high to me. 1 in 100 pregnancies is a tubal pregnancy. I think that and I don't know those statistics straight out. So
Maybe he's talking about 1 in 100 of abortions are tubal because of tubal reasons. I don't know. I'm just taking a wild guess here.
Right.
You can find anything you want to on the internet.
Yep.
I have so many diseases and they all fatal.
Quit Googling.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I don't do that. I got a good doctor that tells me what I need
Yes,
to
you
know.
have a great doctor.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. We appreciate you coming in this morning.
It's been
And
very
enlightening
interesting.
us.
Yes,
So-
it's kind of sad in some
It
ways.
is. Pete, always good to see you.
Thank you, Raven.
You
Glad to be
ready
here.
to announce a run for governor in 2024?
That's Mark Robinson's purview.
Well, then that opens up the lieutenant governor's spot. You want to do that?
Possibility.
Okay.
Oh my
Goes
gosh,
down
you
to
heard
one.
it here first. You heard it here first. Breaking
Mark's a
news.
great guy.
Hey, Mark is a
Yes,
good
he
guy.
is.
Right.
So, anyway, gentlemen, thank you. You're live and
Thank you,
local,
Rachel.
Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. Weather's next and more. When we come back, get your pencils ready. 910-333-0139. What a complaint about something this morning. What is your chief petty complaint? A bunch of mine are about people who drive on the highways. Ugh, I see them every day. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Hey, do you need a boat? You don't have to need one. All you got to do is want one. We can do that. You go buy one. And I know a guy where you can go buy him. I know a place, Tideline Marine, right here in Jacksonville. Maybe your old boat is just, coming apart at the seams.
Right.
Maybe your motor has seen better days. You can repower that boat if it's not bad, or you can get a whole new boat. Keep your motor if you want. If the motor's in good shape, just buy a bare boat. It's not a problem. There are so many scenarios that a lot of people, including me, have been through. I got an old boat. I got two old boats, and my wife has one old boat, so we got three. But we've repowered all of them.
Mm.
The boats we like, they're in good shape. The motors, they wear out. Just put a new motor on it. That's not that big a deal. Tideline Marine is a place that can help you. All you got to do is stop by and say, George or Elise, I need a boat. I want a boat. This old thing ain't what she used to be. Kind of like the old gray mare, it ain't what it used to be. Go get yourself a new one. Get yourself a new horse.
I
or
can
a new
relate.
boat.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. We got a small craft warning in effect until Sunday. Jeez. Sunday afternoon. It's going to be rough. Northeasterly winds today for the next 3 days, 20 to 25 knots, gusts to 30, 4 to 6 footers today, 2 to 3 near shore, dominant period 6 seconds. Tomorrow, pretty much the same thing. And on Saturday, continue to be rough in the sounds as well.
And today is partly sunny with a high near 71. Northeast winds 8 to 10 miles per hour with gusts as high as 16. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 51. Friday, football night that we can't go to. Mostly cloudy with a high near 70. Friday night,
I'm getting
cloudy
a
with the
drone.
low around 55. Saturday and Sunday looking beautiful. Saturday, a high of 67. And Sunday, a high of 74.
I've met some guys with Ospreys who
I
fly
just
these.
can't let it go, can I?
No, you can't. I know some guys who fly Ospreys, and I know a couple of helicopter pilots. Maybe I can just get me a ride, and we just hover over that field
Yeah.
Friday night.
Let's get the blimp. We could put WSME on the blimp
That's what we need.
and just hover over.
That's exactly what we need
Hello,
to do.
Ashley. Are you listening?
We just a lot of hot air is what we'd have to board up
Yes,
with.
yes, exactly.
Doctor, you
Yeah.
brought up a point there just as we went to the break.
But let me just give you a little quote from Admiral Farragut. This was back in 1812 in the siege of New Orleans,
Hot air balloon.
and the mines at that time, or the torpedoes at that time, were little rafts that they put kegs of dynamite on
Mhm.
and sent them downstream. And his words to his men was, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead."
Yeah.
So with small craft advisory, the Navy, damn the torpedoes, full speed
There
ahead.
you go. That works out pretty well. You mentioned something, those we're going into the break, and so we just keep you for a couple more minutes if you can.
Certainly.
Camp Joshua is what we
Camp
were talking about,
Joshua.
right?
Yes, Camp Joshua is our summertime camp. It's a 3.5-day overnight camp for high school students. It's open to anybody in the state.
Mhm.
First Baptist in Morehead City has been very gracious to allow us to use their facilities there. And we cover the whole gamut of the pro-life movement. It's very interesting because it's not just me talking, although I do give a little talk on embryology, and we kind of tailor it to the high school students. I actually brought my embryology book from medical school. I don't know if people can see this or not.
Nice.
But that developing human, I'm almost going to date myself here. That book is the 11th edition. I learned from the 3rd edition.
Oh, wow.
But Camp Joshua, it covers all aspects. We have fun, we have games. We bring legislators in to talk to us about how laws are developed and what the process it is to go through. So a little bit of civics there. We have the women from the Coastal Pregnancy Care Center come in and talk to them about what services they provide for women and the support for pregnant women in crises. We have just a whole slew of lectures from very prominent people, just covering all aspects of the pro-life movement, from abortion to euthanasia to stem cell research to pregnancy care to abstinence to the worth of the individual. And it's open to all students. If students are unable to afford the price, we find sponsors to sponsor them. And we're looking forward to having it this coming summer, be the summer of 2023, the first week in August. And again, more information will be on our website very soon, as soon
Okay.
as we get those dates confirmed.
ncrtl.org, ncrtl.org. Get all the information you ever wanted there.
Right.
Okay.
And the last thing I wanted to say too is that not only do we address the high school students, but we set aside in our budget every year $4,000 for a scholarship for a college student. They must have completed 1 year of college. And we send them to the National Right to Life Academy. So the headquarters for National Right to Life is in Old Town Alexandria. It used to be downtown DC, but they moved. And that student, if we get that person committed well ahead of time, we can coordinate with their current college and get them 3 credit hours for that course, because it's a 6-week, very intensive.
Oh,
It's
that's
not all fun and games. It's some working, is writing some papers. It's going with them when they lobby at Capitol Hill. So it's a very intense course. They talk about social media, how to use it, how to promote your cause. And they teach you about pro-life apologetics. What are the answers? What are the counter answers to "it's my body, my choice"? So it's a very intensive. It's open to anybody. Again, more information on our website, and we always look forward to having at least one college student. If we get more, we'll find a sponsor
There you go.
and make it
Awesome.
happen.
Well,
Good.
I look at all the laws in this country and I look at the basis of the Constitution when I do pretty much anything. Your right ends where mine begins.
That's right.
You cannot do something just because you have a right to do it. You cannot hurt me because you think you have a right to do it,
That's
because I
correct.
have a right.
That's correct.
So does that baby.
Thank you so much for having me on board today. I just want to say hoorah to all the Marines there. I was recalled after 9/11 and spent 6.5 months at Naval Hospital, and I would go with the Marines anywhere.
Oh yeah, and the Marines
That's right.
love the corpsmen, the doctors out there. I will tell you that right now.
That's right.
They have monuments to them, and they really, you should hear it. I've been to any number of Marine Corps birthdays, and they always have a wonderful things to say about my doc,
Right.
because that's what they call them.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much
Let's go
for
and take
coming in.
another break here. You're live and local Real Talk, and we'll be right back. We're located in the studios of Earl Jones Music School. Most of you guys have heard us talk about that in the past, and we used to have John Jones. He's Earl's son,
Used
one
to
of
have.
one of his sons.
Used
And
to-
Back in yesteryear.
yeah, I know, I like that, but it was a lot of work for him every Monday morning. He came in here every Monday morning with a group or a single or a duo or whoever. And we've talked about him a number of times here. Anyway, John is the guy that doesn't matter what you are going to be sitting down here playing. You give him about 22 seconds and he will join in. He can play pretty much anything.
Whether you want me to or not, I'm going to join
Yeah,
in.
we need a happy
Which
song.
we really
after.
do like that. You got any football music?
Football music.
Oh.
Okay, no, that's a baseball.
Take me out to the
Yeah,
no, that's baseball.
My boys love that
Right.
song. They're into baseball. Huge.
Oh,
You know the
okay.
Jacksonville Cardinals fight song?
I'm sorry, but I went to
Ah.
Richlands High School.
Yeah.
I'm not letting it go.
And now I live over in Duplin County, so Jacksonville's
Oh.
further away.
They even kicked you out of Onslow County, didn't they?
Yeah, they just couldn't handle it.
Wow. Anyway, John's joining us in the studio. You got something going on out there. You're putting in a recording studio?
That's right.
Well,
We've
yay.
got several folks, including our students, who want to do some recording. So
Awesome.
my buddy Cliff Swanhart, he's going to bring in his recording equipment, and we're
I
going to
know
have an
that name.
in-house recording
Right.
studio here. And we've already got a couple of things done,
Mhm.
and they turned out pretty good, but we just kind of thought it would work better to all have it in one house. So we're going
Okay.
to give that a shot.
So you just go hook it up here and play and have them perform in the studio, and the control room
Right.
can be over here.
Right.
Kind of like this one.
Kind of like this. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
All right,
nice.
You might have to put in another window over there or something. you know.
Yeah.
There you
Or
go.
cameras.
Something, yeah, high tech. We're going to get high tech around here.
Yeah, there you go. That would be good. What you were in Selma? Turnout was really good
Yeah.
over the weekend.
Yeah, it was a great show. My hat's off to Allison Radcliffe for she was the headliner, the big name on stage that
Didn't
night.
we have her in here?
No, actually,
Sure we didn't.
we did not. I've only met Allison I think it was August when she reached out to me and needed a guitar player, and apparently she couldn't find one, so she called me, and I took the job, and she started getting to work selling tickets, and turned out a great crowd. I mean,
Wonderful.
those folks there in Johnston and Harnett County, actually that's Harnett County. No, that's Johnston County. Selma is,
I think
and
it is, yeah.
and man, they love their country music up there. So, I had several back when I did the show on your show, the segment on your show, Rayford. I had
Oh,
several
God.
folks from Johnston County here, and I just knew every time I met with some of those folks, I said, they got a real passion for country music, and I like that. So it was a good time.
All the folks that you brought in here had a real passion
Yeah,
for
did.
music,
They did.
period.
And they're still making it. You know,
Mhm.
those guys are still at it. And I love kind of keeping in touch with them. That was
That's
a good
good.
experience to do that.
Excellent. You got something a little ditty you can play for us this morning? I need to relax.
A ditty, the
I do
man
too.
says.
I need
How
something
about this?
happy.
Okay, how about this? This is not happy. It's just kind of goofy.
That's good.
Same thing.
I like this song. I wrote this a couple years ago. Feels like I'm forgetting something all the time. Seems like I'm always wondering now, where is my mind? And I know it's true, I got things to do, but I'm just too busy loving you. And I can't do but one thing at a time. I can only do just one thing at a time. Now multitasking's never really been my thing. No, that's just asking too much of my poor little old brain. And there's no reason to think I'll improve. I'm gonna be too busy loving you. And I can't do but one thing at a time. I can only do just one thing at a time. Now I even went so far as to make myself a to-do list. If I can just now figure out what did I do with it. But I guess it don't matter much anyways. I probably wrote loving you on every page. And I can't do but one thing at a time. I can only do just one thing at a time. I don't know, maybe I could play guitar and love you at the same time. I could probably drink coffee. But I'm really just not much of a multitasker.
Don't spill the coffee.
Maybe I'll just stick to guitar playing after all.
I told you he could do pretty much
That
anything
is
anytime he
awesome.
wanted to.
That made me smile. Thank you.
Well,
I
good,
needed
good.
It's
that.
just good.
Live music does that,
Oh,
Yes,
you
it
know,
does.
for the
It does.
players or the listeners.
Yeah.
It brings that vibe.
Are you doing any local performing?
I'm actually taking the rest of 2022 off because I've
Really?
got so much going on with the house and the farm in my personal life. So I've just got to get caught up on some stuff. And I got some recording sessions to get squared away between now and the end of the year so I can release some new music in 23.
Yay.
But
Nice.
yeah, so Selma this past Saturday, great show, but that was kind of a big finale for my personal year, for my own year. So I'm glad it was a good show. I wanted to end on a high note.
We got your finale for the year right here.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
Right.
So we top it.
That was the
Right.
the encore. The
There
encore.
you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, we do appreciate you stopping in too. But
Yeah,
I know
it's
that,
nice.
I hope I didn't make too much noise in here.
No,
No,
you-
you
you
were
were fine.
fine. It's just we heard somebody come in. We didn't know
I
who
saw
it
a shirt,
was.
and that's not a real mirror there, but
Well,
I can see figures
Right.
moving.
You know, a
We
lot
didn't-
of my students work for the government, and they have those jobs that you don't ask what they
Yes.
did, and they taught me how to be sneaky. So
Right,
I'm
right.
sneaky.
You were good because we were like, I
I
was
said, "Well,
like,
who's that? Who's that? I can't see."
who just came in?
Yeah, I overheard one of the guys say, "Yeah, there's some redhead dude out there
Yeah.
moving around."
I know.
That's just me. Just some redhead guy.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side. John Jones is in the studio. If you got a question, if you want to ask a question about writing music, should you write music? Because John and I've had that discussion before, and the answer is, oh, yes, you should write your own music. Whether it's good or not, you'll kind of get an idea. Well, we'll talk to him about that. And if you want to ask him a question, you'll have a few minutes when we get back here live in Local Real Talk. Our number, 910-333-0139. John, we don't have anybody with any questions apparently. One song you did earlier this year that we played a few times, if can recall that hurricane song, a hurricane song. Remember that song?
I do remember that song, and I hope Elliot Potter's listening right now because we played that song and we didn't have much of our.
We didn't have much. Now,
No.
here's what you got. We got a little system out there right now, though.
That's right. We didn't talk
east
about
of the
that
Bahamas.
today.
There's not much to talk about.
Yeah.
But probably not going to impact us. It should pass southwest of Bermuda. Bermuda has been in the bullseye this year.
Oh, there you go. Yes, yes.
I think we do have another singer in here that just like you are.
Oh, no.
Hey, Steve.
Hey guys, I ain't just like he is. He's really good.
Well, I don't know you, Steve, but I appreciate that.
We have to have Steve come
You
in one day and
do.
sing for
You
us.
do know me, John. You just don't know which Steve it is.
Okay, all right. I apologize then. I apologize.
That's okay. It's Stephen Poole. I'll go ahead and put it out
Rock on, man.
I
I
don't know if you
remember.
remember.
Yeah, I hadn't seen you in a while.
there. Yeah. It's been a while. Yeah. I just want to call in and say hey to you, and said you sound great this morning.
Man,
and
I sure appreciate it. Come by the studio
yeah,
sometime. We'll jam.
I hear you. And I wanted to give you a shout out too. That I was actually a student at the Earl Jones Music School for 1 month.
Yeah.
But this is my schedule. I had to pull out. But I would like to tell everybody that I learned quite a bit in that 1 month. Even though I could already technically play the guitar, I still learned a lot from John. And I highly recommend everybody that wants to learn music to go there, especially if you have kids that you want to learn music. I couldn't think of a better place for you to send them. It is an absolutely awesome music school.
Dang, man, we have to hire you as our PR man.
That's
You got it, man. I even like your voice and everything. You got it going on, man.
I hear you. I appreciate it, John. I appreciate it.
Maybe you guys
But
could
anyway-
conspire to write a song for next hurricane season. Go away, hurricane. No, hurricane.
I'm over hurricanes. I think you need to write a football song.
Yeah, we need a football song. But we need it for
That's the
tomorrow
thing
morning.
John always
Yes.
got on me about was he wanted me to write songs, and I'm just that ain't my muse, I guess.
Sometimes it takes, it just takes a while for it to hit, but I would hope everybody finds just something to write. That creativity, man, it's so wonderful.
I agree 100%. Unfortunately for me, creativity's always been a struggle for me.
I want you to listen a little bit, though, John.
See, what are you talking about, man? There you go.
You can jump right in. Tell your family, yeah, tell your friends, it's live and local, real talk. On Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSM.
There it is, man. Talking about you can't
Love
ride
it.
nothing.
Well, jingles are a little different for me. You know what I mean? They're kind of whimsical and not, songs are, I don't know, I feel differently. I block when I do songs for some reason.
Oh, man, you got it going on there. It sounded real good.
Thank you, sir.
I
Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
All right.
Let's see.
But I wanted to hear his song he was going to do. I wanted to call and say hey right quick before he
Very
jumped
good.
into that, man.
Well,
But
he's already done it.
anyway,
Yeah.
I got you. I thought he was going to do the hurricane song. I thought y'all were getting ready to
not,
jump
not
into
this
that one.
time. Thank you, sir.
I got you.
All
I
right.
got you. Thanks.
Okay. Writing, real quick, like writing for musicians, those can learn to play, can learn to sing, perhaps.
Absolutely.
But writing is a whole different ball of wax. But you don't have to be a great songwriter, but it kind of gives you some ideas, won't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's it's the epitome of music, really, to be creative.
Mhm.
And you don't. I guess songwriting is treated like such a big industry focused thing now. It's like you're either a billionaire songwriter or you're nothing, and it's just not true. You can write songs for your own therapy. I've done a lot of PTSD lessons where I've helped guys write songs, and they're not going to go out and make a fortune off of it. They're just trying to heal, trying
That's
to
not
get
the
something
point.
through it. Right. There's tons of reasons to write songs, and I would just encourage anybody if you can make something rhyme, and let's hope you can. And maybe you got a little melody. You don't even have to have a melody. I had a guy come to me for a while there. All he had was a bunch of lines that, well, they sort of rhymed, and we put music to it. And there's people out there that will do that for you, and all of a sudden you're a songwriter, and you didn't even know you had it.
Didn't know you could.
Yeah. So just everybody give yourself a chance, I think, and I'd be happy to help folks with that.
Yeah. Last week I couldn't spell songwriter. Today I are one.
See, look at the
So-
progress Rayford has made.
I'm working on it.
If he can do it, I won't say that.
Anybody can do it. Trust me. John Jones, Earl Jones Music School. He's going to take some time off, and then but stay tuned for his next Sessions next series of songs because they're coming
Yes.
out first of the year, right?
I can't wait.
Yeah, probably early spring. I'll try to shoot some stuff out and let folks
You have to
see
come
what
by
they
here
think.
too.
Yeah, I'll be
Yes.
sure to do that because
Please. I love having you in here. It's good.
Relaxing.
It's good therapy for
Yes.
us.
well, I
It
tell you,
is.
you need therapy after driving into Jacksonville early in the morning. Oh my gosh, man, it's like Mad Max Beyond
Yes.
Thunderdome out there.
See, I don't have a problem because I'm here by 5:30.
I got up and left about 6:30 from my house
Oh,
this
you
morning,
got
thinking
the
it was
heat of
going to
traffic.
beat. Oh, I
Oh,
was so
yes.
wrong, so wrong.
Oh, yes.
All right, John. Thank you, sir. We
Yep.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Don Jones, Earl Jones Music School, and other things. And he records music and performs live and all sorts of stuff. We'll look forward to having him back in here first of the year.
Absolutely.
Okay, tomorrow we have
Commissioner Tim Foster's coming
Commissioner
in.
Tim Foster will be joining us tomorrow morning.
He's going to talk about his reelection.
Yeah, because last time he was in here, we didn't give him a chance to talk about it. We didn't even think about it,
When
honestly.
Tim gets
So much
going, it's
other
hard to get a
news.
word in edgewise.
Well, he's a
admit that well.
retired school principal, a
Yes.
teacher, a sports guy. I mean, you hear him
Yes.
on our
Sports talk.
sports show, Sports Talk on Friday mornings quite often with
Right.
Chris Rayner
Yes.
and that group. So anyway, look forward to having him in here tomorrow morning to talk about his politics just a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
Now, if you don't think I'm not going to mention this school football situation,
Oh yeah, I better give him heads up.
don't tell him. He won't be listening right now, so don't pass it
No,
along.
he's probably out at the polls.
We're going to give you some more the information again tomorrow. It's likely, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's going to happen.
Right.
But you got my 2 cents worth this morning, so we'll just try to tell you how you
I'm
can
right
get
there with
tickets
you.
to go to the ball game. The very few of you who will be eligible to do that, we'll tell you how to do it. But if you can't do it, it's okay. Listen to WSME
That's
tomorrow
right.
night beginning at 6:30.
97.1.
97.1 is your frequency. If you want not, you can go download one of you app
Simple
people.
radio,
Go
yes.
download Simple Radio and just type in WSME.
Right.
WSME. And they'll download an app.
And you can
any time of the
always
day.
go to the website, which is for those of you that can see www.wsme97.1.
No,
No,
971.com.
971.com. Sorry, I knew better.
Yep.
And it'll take you right to the link to click on live.
You
So
can listen live at that point in
Yes.
time. You can
Yes.
listen to us live. It's got a special icon for
Right.
that, or just listen live and you'll hear whatever's on the air at that time. Okay.
That's correct.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
All right.
And with Commissioner Tim Foster will be joining us bright and early. And I mean, really bright and early at 7
Yes.
o'clock right after. You're live and local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME.